What's up, everyone? Welcome back to day 5 of the free 30-day AI Academy Challenge. Again, proud of you for being here on day 5. We are now, once you complete this, a sixth of the way through the free course. You should compliment yourself for taking the time to invest in your AI education throughout this course, and it's honestly an honor for me that you've chose to do it inside the AI Academy. We have some great people in here teaching some amazing things. So today we're going to talk about how LLMs actually work. It's going to be a little bit into the techie, nerdy weeds, but I think it is important. When I was planning out this course, I spent many hours with the decks and the framework and how I kind of wanted to lay it out week by week. And obviously, starting with foundations, I spent a lot of time on just interacting with the LLMs, finding your guys' daily driver. But now I think it's important to have a little bit of the technical know-how on how these LLMs actually work, how they're trained, why they're trained the way they are, and how to avoid some of the loopholes that I see a lot of people fall into when they're both trying to monetize with AI and when they're trying to just learn and enhance their AI education. So that's what we're going to talk about a bit today. As always, subscribe and follow for important new updates regarding this course. And new courses, new guides, and all the free tools we're continuing to onboard to the AI Academy. That's the YouTube and the Instagram. Share the course. Let's start a revolution and change people's lives together. I think AI education is going to become more and more prominent in the coming years, and I want everyone in this community to stay ahead of the curve. And for sharing the course, we offer a 40% commission affiliate. If someone you invite a year down the line decides to upgrade to our paid course or by consulting or use one of our affiliate links with some of our partners, you get a 40% commission kickback on all that. And even more incentive to learn here, monthly giveaways. Complete your worksheets, stay active, and level up. We give away Apple products every month. Get a chance to win those prizes just by completing a 5-10 minute worksheet, showing what you learned, chatting with others about their goals. And we're starting to see in the community already, people are having similar goals, some around monetizing, some around just education, some around getting their time back, saving 15-20 minutes a day, because that really adds up. So again, be active in the community, share your worksheets, and you'll get rewarded for it. Bonus tip, watch this course in 2x speed. You'll save yourself some time. You can always rewind and slow down and share your results and experiences with others. I'm the first to look for critiques, so if there's anything you think I missed in this course after watching all the way through, please let me know. I respond to every single school DM, every single YouTube comment, and I'm very active in my Instagram DMs as well. So please shoot me a message. You can find my email on founderdrew.com as well. But let's hop into the agenda today. So LLMs, we're going to talk about how they predict the next word, why LLMs can be so confidently wrong a lot, and I think you see this in the news and some social media headings of LLMs being so confident in something that's so blatantly wrong. And getting later into 2026 now, it's definitely gotten better, but it's definitely something we should still talk about. Thinking versus fast answers. We're going to talk about how you can switch the model on your LLM to get different outputs. We covered this briefly, and then we're going to enhance with the verify habit, which is something I use whenever I'm prompting for a project or at work. So, starting off, it predicts the next word. So, one idea explained it all. At its core, an LLM just predicts the next word again and again. This is through the neural network. Now, we can think about LLMs either in a neural network or a symbolic network. I was looking at a very cool company in the foundational model space that was doing a neural network in which it could trace back into its DB or database every single thought process it had. It didn't have to try to predict the next word, which is what a lot of these LLMs, or all, of these LLMs are trained to do. Because when you think about it, if you have to train an LLM on the context of everything in the entire world and then add in context on the person and the problems it's trying to solve so it can get to know the person, you can't have a database for all of that, because the tracking throughout that database, if we think about it as connected nodes, like with this pen from idea here to idea here, there are billions of these. So for it to track through billions of those to find the correct answer and track back would take far too long. So these LLMs Claude, ChatGPT, the Opus 4.8, Opus 4.8s in the world are trained on everything. So it has to predict the next word again and again. And as I just said, it's trained on a lot of data and a lot of text. It learned patterns from a massive slice of human text. So that's why it's called a large language model, LLM, because it's trained on this big chunk of text to predict down the line. So a famous test is it showed, I forget if it was a bird or not, but they were trained the image model and they just showed it millions upon millions of images of birds. And over time, the LLM learned, just based off pattern recognition of whether it was told it was right or wrong, what a bird looks like. It doesn't conceptually, I guess, know what a bird looks like, but it knows based on the feedback it's getting what signifies a bird in an image. Not a database. It doesn't look up facts. As I said, it's not using that network where it can go back into that big database, but it generates what's most likely correct, hence the hallucinations. And that's why it's so fluent. Smooth sentences come from predicting what fits next. As you're typing it out, the LLM is predicting what you're going to say, so it can preface in the back end what the correct answer it thinks is. Fresh chat each time. By default, each chat starts fresh. Memory comes in a week 2. We're going to talk about memory, the project settings, because right now I think we see a lot of people that are just starting. They're talking to ChatGPT or they're talking to Claude, and they're starting everything in a fresh chat. And yes, these models will start to learn who you are. But if the problem is something, or the problem or the assignment or whatever you're working on was the same as it was before, it should be done in a project, so it's trained on that information. Why LLMs are so confidently wrong. Confident does not equal correct. It predicts fluent text even when the facts are wrong. And for this, I wanted to draw attention. By the way, for today, if we go to founderdrew.com/day 5, we will pull up today's worksheet. Amazing. This was an article I really liked from September 5th of 2025, so almost a year old. But it does, I think, break down by OpenAI why language models hallucinate so well. I'll make sure to tag this in the post on school, but you can find it at openai.com/index/why language models hallucinate. It's an 8-minute listen. It talks about what hallucinations are. Hallucinations are plausible but false statements generated by language models. They can show up in surprising ways, even for seemingly straightforward questions. For example, when we asked a widely used chatbot for the title of the PhD dissertation by Adam Tuman Calais, an author of this paper, it confidently produced 3 different answers, none of them which were correct. It goes on about teaching it to test, going through the metric. This is back in GPT-5 and then OpenAI 04 Mini. A little outdated, but I think it's definitely reasonable to run through. And on the worksheet, we're going to run through the mental model in one sentence. I'm going to have you rewrite because it helps stick in the memory what an LLM is and what it actually does and how it works. And then I'm going to have you try to catch a hallucination based on your daily driver. So ask it a question that you know the answer to, check the answer, see if it got it right, and I want to see how this source checked. This will be very interesting in the community to see how people are going about that. But I think it's just important to keep at the front of your mind, or at least to be wary that the answer you're getting can be wrong. And there are times where I've gotten an answer today even, I've been like, that doesn't seem right. Let's riff back on that. And it turns out it was a hallucination. Hallucinations happen. That happens even with me, even in Claude that I've been using for over a year. Sometimes it still thinks I'm at my old job, or it still thinks I'm still dating my ex-girlfriend or something, and it needs a reminder. Hallucinations happen. It can invent names, numbers, quotes, and sources, and be aware of that. And these LLMs, and we see this a lot, I think, on social media now, are aimed to please. It would rather answer than admit, I don't know. These LLMs are trained to keep you hooked on them. They're trained to people please you, and they're trained to produce answers that sound right. Remember this. Older info gets stale. Without web access, it may miss recent events. It's getting better at this. You stay the editor. Treat every output as a strong draft, not the gospel. Please. Thinking versus fast answers. 2 speeds, quick replies for easy tasks, deeper thinking for hard ones. We're going to run through this quick. I wanted to show this on both Claude and ChatGPT. So in Claude here, if you go here to hi, You can select the model. I always choose the most current model. Some people get really attached to like 4.6, for example, and they just like the way it speaks, so they stay with that. But then, as we talked about this, you can choose the effort. Higher effort means more thoughtful responses, but takes longer. It's a lot harder for these higher effort ones to hallucinate. And then you can turn on thinking. You can turn this on and off. I always prefer thinking to be on. I can think for more complex tasks. Again, it uses more tokens, so you may hit your usage limits quicker, but I always turn on thinking, and then I usually go high, extra, and max. And then I want to show on ChatGPT as well. ChatGPT has a deep research tool. They also have, you can select the model here, and then you can choose instant response, thinking response, pro response. For this task, instant will probably give you the most hallucinations, but then thinking is going to be much stronger. And then they also have deep research. So if you go to plus here and select deep research, this is going to pull from sites, apps, and takes a lot longer to respond. So just wanted to cover that here, just to show how you can switch between those, because I think certain prompts require. Looks like this guy's getting banned. Sorry, blessings. Yep. There we go. All right, no self-promotion here. Great. Thanks to the 2 people that reported that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's important because, like, certain prompts, it's like, if I'm just editing a doc, I don't need it on very high thinking, deep research. Right? That's a quick response. But if I'm doing something that's going to change the trajectory of how I go about the entire task or assignment, I should probably take the few extra minutes to put it on a higher thinking model, maybe do some deep research and go from there. So the 2 speeds, quick replies versus deep thinking. Turn on reasoning for tricky problems, let it slow down. Better for logic and math, thinking mode catches mistakes a lot faster. Costs a little time, slower, but worth it if accuracy really matters. Your tokens are just going to go up. Match speed to the stakes. Low stakes equals go fast. The high stakes make it think, as I just showed you. The verify habit. This will be the last thing we go into today. Trust but check. Verify anything that matters before you rely on it. Ask for the sources. This is something I've been doing. I think a prompt that really changed my life is saying, what's something I'm missing in the situation I'm dealing with right now, or what's something I'm not seeing. Chat or Claude will pull some interesting stuff from that. And again, I take everything at like face value. As for the sources, another great one. Have it cite, then confirm these links are real. Cross-check facts first. A 10-second search beats a confident error down the line. Use thinking for the hard calls. Slow it down when the answer actually matters. Yeah, we just showed you how to do this again in Claude, the deep thinking. So now we're going to fill out our worksheet attached at foundry.com/day5, and then post the results in the accountability channel. So if we go back over and foundry.day5, it would be in one sentence, in your own words, how does an LLM actually work? Again, to make your own, you just go file, make a copy. Day 5 worksheet. Catch a hallucination. Ask your daily driver whatever we chose in days 3 and 4. A detailed factual question about your goal or topic, and then about yourself. Then check one claim. Answer question I asked, a specific claim made, the LLM made, was it correct, and the source I checked it against. And then do the same thing, thinking versus fast. Take one harder task for your goal. Again, I don't know your goal. This could be education-based. This could be AI monetization-based. This could be productivity-based, buying time back. That's why it's really open-ended here. Take one harder question for your goal. Run it normally, then turn on thinking and reasoning. So say the task, give it an honest answer on the fast answer, and then the thinking answer. And when I'll reach for thinking mode from now on is when blank. So this is just getting hands-on. I want you to see it with your own eyes, how it's different in the fast mode versus the thinking mode. So that way it's second nature as we move throughout the course. Your verify rule. Write the one rule you'll follow before trusting AI on autopilot, or an AI output, Before I trust it, I will what? What will you look for? Because again, we're going to be going through thousands of prompts throughout this course, and I don't want people to get caught up in like, oh, it told me this. You got to double check it. Lock it in. Check these off. I caught at least AI doing one thing wrong, and I know how to switch thinking mode on my daily driver for the future. 2 steps to finish. Post your rule, verify rule and accountability. So you just copy the title, go into accountability here, paste it at the top, and then you can just go file, download, and you would just attach it in here as well. Perfect. Great. So once that's in the school, we'll go into the summary here. Summary. So again, AI predicts the next word. Confident does not always mean it's correct. Make it think for the harder stuff. Tomorrow, we're going to go into prompting that actually works. We're going to start actually breaking down how you should be prompting these LLMs to find success over these 30 days. If you want to go faster, founderu.com/consultant. All the money gets reinvested to reach more people for this free course and help as many people as possible with their AI education, whether it's through this school or newsletter. If you're ready to build and scale, school.com/AI Academy Plus. If you want to turn this education and actually turn it into revenue. If you're enjoying the course, post a testimonial in the wins category. It helps a lot. And let's get to work. We'll see you guys tomorrow for day 6. Peace.